Do today is a little bit of role playing. I'm going to take all of you into the minds of a criminal. So the whole idea is that if you do not even understand how cyber criminals work, there's no way you can actually protect yourself and your organizations against the same cyber criminals. This brings me to the first live hacking demonstration of the day, which is of a very interesting spying software known as a Trojan. Now, if I were a criminal, if you're a victim, if I'm able to infect your computer with a Trojan, then sitting in absolutely any part of the world, I can remotely connect to your computer, I can control your computer, I can even spy upon everything on your computer. And what makes Trojans even more dangerous is the fact that Trojans are available as a free download on the internet. Now, Trojans are obviously very dangerous tools, but let's quickly move on to the next big threat that many of us face on the internet, which is identity impersonation. There's a very interesting technique known as email spoofing, which is, like the name suggests, the power to be able to send a spoofed or fake email from somebody else's email account without knowing the password. Now, nowadays, cybercrime is obviously on the rise. I think all of us agree that cybercrime has risen quite a bit in the last few years. Now, what is making solving and investigating a cybercrime so difficult? The fact remains that it's extremely easy for a criminal to be completely anonymous on the internet and execute something known as a perfect computer crime. So if I were a criminal, if I wanted to hack into your website and not get caught for it, there are 4 simple things that I need to do. And once I do that, I guarantee that most police departments across the world, there's no way for them to trace me back. First of all, I'm going to hide my IP address using a proxy server. The second thing that I'll do is I will change my MAC address using a technique called MAC spoofing. So there's a free software called MAC Makeup. I repeat, MAC Makeup, that is available as a free download on the internet that allows me to spoof my MAC address. The third thing that I'll do is I'll perform war driving. So I'll take my Wi-Fi enabled laptop, get into a car, start driving around the city, while my Wi-Fi enabled laptop will try to scan or search for an open Wi-Fi network that I can misuse. Number 4, I'm going to use a technique called onion routing. There's a software, once again, available as a free download on the internet called Tor. Tor allows me to encrypt my connection, anonymize my connection, and bounce off my connection via 3 different random servers in 3 different parts of the world. So that is how simple committing a perfect computer crime has now become. So we live in a very dangerous world. Every single day, hacking into systems is becoming a lot easier. But that does not mean that we stop using technology. Obviously, there are solutions available. And for the rest of the day today, we are going to discuss a variety of different solutions that are available to all of us to protect ourselves against all the various threats that are available on the internet.
An increase in consumers at the Semantic iSecurity Summit, the agenda was cybersecurity, a multi-dimensional analysis and approach for booming information economy, and to discuss their ideas and perspectives on the threats to the internet for some of the sharpest and innovative minds in the industry. Aruna Rao, Executive Vice President and Group CTO, Kotak Mahindra. Pawan Duggal, President Pawan Duggal Associates and Cyber Law and E-Commerce Law Expert. Sanjay Das, Co-founder and CTO, Symphony FinTech. Vivek Kulkarni, former IT Secretary Karnataka and founder and MD Brickwork Ratings. Fran Roche, Vice President Information Security Symantec. And Mahesh Khambat Kode, co-founder Games to Win.
Welcome once again to a special session in this forum. This session is titled Cybersecurity, a multi-dimensional analysis, an approach for booming information economy. That's quite a mouthful, I know. And to help me understand this complex sentence, I have this panel here with me. But before that, I start a quick show of hands. How many in the audience are really, really happy that Ankit Fadia is not a criminal and he's on our side of the law? So my first question is for Fran Roche. Fran, that was a pretty impressive presentation and a very scary one. My first question for you, is that for real? Are those threats for real?
Oh, I think absolutely those are those are for real. I think many of our customers have been victims of exactly those types of attacks. And I think the good news is, as we closed out the keynote, is there are solutions out there to help companies combat these. And so I think it is real, but on the good side, there are definitely some solutions out there to help.
It seems to me that the terrorists and the criminals seem to be 5 years ahead of law enforcement agencies and security experts. Would you agree with that? That the criminals seem to be a little ahead of the curve all the time?
I do think that the criminals stay pretty far ahead. I think that in general, we understand what the criminals are doing, and there are, again, techniques to combat them. I just think that we get too slow at implementing them.
Let me ask Aruna Rao. We saw a lot of threats to individuals, email spoofing, identity theft. What are the threats to an organization like yours? What do you face on a daily basis?
I think many of the things that we saw at an individual level also apply at the corporate part. You know, if you are doing net banking, internet banking and things like that, many of those things can be applied, those techniques, if you will, can be applied as well at the kind of corporate piece. So there,
all the stuff that Ankit said is real, it's very real. Those are real and emergent threats for an organization like yours?
you know, I think they are all real. The only difference I would like to think is that Ankit put them all together and showed us a flow of how all of it can come together. I suspect, you know, individual fraudsters use pieces of the techniques, and so that is reality. All of it exists, but not all at one place is what I'm thinking.
Sanjay, your company makes financial tools for trading, for algo trading. Now these tools handle large amounts of money, they move equities across transnational borders. What kind of threats do you as an organization face?
There are some figures that are available that will help the audience appreciate. So the 38% of all security threats are targeted towards financial institutions, and a fair portion of that is towards the brokerage community. And as you mentioned rightly, we deal with a lot of money. So even if somebody were to siphon off 0.1%, you know, it takes a long time. In Goldman Sachs' balance sheet, $1 million probably does not even show up. So there are various players along the cycle here. There are a lot of points that are vulnerable in this sequence of events. And you could be very safe in your own laptop, yet unknowingly you're being targeted somewhere along the way.
Mahesh Gambhir, could you give us a sense of the kind of issues you face? You're a gaming company, you have people from all over the world playing games. In the world of gaming, having an online avatar, having a alter ego, having a fake identity is almost de-regular. It's almost required to be a gamer that you would have it. How do you deal with the issues in the industry that you're in?
Yeah, so that's an interesting angle, a set of problems that we face. One of our portals is in fact a children's site. There it's important that we control what the kids say to one another. So it's a different type of security altogether. You make sure that you don't have unscrupulous characters interacting with.
How do you make sure that that doesn't happen?
So there are compliance tools and compliance rules that you have to adhere to. Something called COPA that was set up in the US, which is still being adhered to in many countries. And essentially, it involves things, for example, simple stuff like screening what is being texted about between consumers, controlling who accesses our databases, having security protocols to prevent, only certain authorized people can actually access some sensitive data pertaining to these users.
Pavan, you do a lot of work with mobile law and with cyber law. And two of the key aspects of cyber law is using the computer or the phone as a weapon or using it as a target. How strong is India?